Alright, I just hit the go live button, so we'll just gotta wait for everything to come up. Good morning, chat. I can't decide if I'm feeling worse or better than yesterday. It's not, I feel different, but I can't decide if it's better or worse. But I've got less than 10 days before, I've got essentially 10 days before I leave New Jersey for the last time. I'm ahead of where I need to be on this move, so I really want to get this at least usable. I mean, it's almost there. Ultimately speaking, to make this viable, I need to have Direwolf be able to read the GPS packet. I'll probably have it do all the beaconing, because I just basically implemented that as a test. Do I really have no viewers? No, okay. It's just the console's being slow. Do I have working audio? Oh no, YouTube was saying that there's no audio, but apparently it's just being laggy. And I have the McLeod sound library here. I don't know. Let me see here. It's like there is some jazz albums on here, so maybe we'll listen to some jazz. Assuming it actually works as intended. You know what? That works. A little bit of smooth jazz actually sounds nice. So as I'm currently working on this, last night I got to the point that I could put position reports and AX25 packets in the database, and I installed DB browser for SQLite. I just realized, yeah, my VM, I had to restart the VM, and so my database went and got erased. That's annoying. We'll just put something in the home folder, and we'll run this so it collects some more packets. Cargo run. Oh, right, I have to prepare it. Diesel migrations up. Or is it migration up? I think setup, maybe? Oh, right. This is the it's Debian is the user on this because I didn't install this VM. I just used a pre-installed one. Okay, hold on. So Debian. There we go. So that runs the migration scripts. So now if I run it, I get a connection refused message from what? Oh, GPSD is probably not running. No, it's not. Because like I said, I had to restart fake GPS. I'm trying to remember the commands to set this up because you have to limit it or it doesn't. It goes too fast. I think it's -S. Yeah, it's -S. Set by out rate. Oh, it's big S. Okay, so Okay, so that's the that's fake GPS set up. Yep, there we go. All right, so now as we hear APRS traffic locally, oh, all right, I have to also tell it to print because Rust log debug. Right. So as it here's reports. If we take a look in the database now that exists, and we look at here, we now have the frames going in. As well as the route data. I'm not completely convinced I've got this right, but it's at least a step in the right direction because I am storing the raw frames, which means I am going to be able to process this later. I am a little shocked at how consistent the view numbers are for this topic is. Like, no matter... Usually when I stream on a topic, the time of day affects it, but this has been an average of 20 or 30 views whenever I am. I guess because, realistically, I'm probably getting views from Australia in the middle of the night. So we are getting the raw frames. I need to change this timestamp to an actual numeric timestamp because I realized that's a thing I'm going to actually need. And then over here we have the TPV reports. This is basically the information from the GPS at a given moment. Because we can see that basically each one of these corresponds to an AX25 packet. I don't have the links set up between the tables correctly, but you can see here it's got the longitude and latitude from the fake GPS data we're feeding into it. And I know that this will work with the real GPS, and we'll even try it at some point. So this is basically tells me where I am when I heard X, and this is also going to form the basis of I think the actual output here is going to be a KML file, and if I can code it in time, I would love to have a live stream going where Google Earth follows my Prius. And then I have audio overlaid on it. I haven't figured that part out yet. And I might be getting a little bit too overly ambitious, but at least I think I'm pretty close to minimum viable product. Because even if I just... At this point, I can beacon with Direwolf. I know... I should know that this setup should basically work. I should even be able to do this with a handheld if I can't get the... if I can't get the radio installed properly, although that should not be a problem. I think I'm going to have the Yatsu. I think, I'm currently debating it. I have someone who's been helping me with the move and has been helping me with a lot of things, and they are much more technically inclined. They are much better with cars than I am, so, they'll be, I think in the video, it's mostly a matter of, the reason I'm being ambiguous here is partially due to anonymity. I don't know, it's one of the many things I've been dealing with in my life because what's been going on behind the scenes has been really rough. Hey, greetings from New Jersey, Kirishuna Day. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I heard India recently on the APRS net, so that was actually really cool to see. So if I go to... Alright, so this is my example code for diesel. So we go back here. So one of the things I know I need to change, like, just right now, this needs to be a... this needs to be a numeric, and this needs to be an actual timestamp. I also need to figure out how I get the insert ID back out, which is done on the example code over here. But the problem I have with this example code is you have new post and you have post, and the way it's working is it's returning... There's got to be a way I can just get the I can just get the primary key off the insert. Because if I can just get the primary key... So there's batch insert. Here we go. Returning clause. So we could do get result. It's also possible to do an insert or update query known as a upsert. Which doesn't work in this particular case. Let me see here. There's got to be a... I guess I need to basically... The problem is that if I add the primary key, and I'm on the wrong one, if I add the primary key to the model, I can't put it as option I32 because, oh, you know what? Hold on. Maybe I can. Maybe I can convince this to work. Let me put pub ID option. Technically, it would be I64. Not that it really should matter. Right, and then that's going to throw a fit because the table expression is not satisfied. But what if I just... I mean, I'm pretty sure the primary key has to remain not null. Like, I don't think that works. I know that you can get away with that with MySQL, but yeah, see... Then I always have to have an ID here. I mean, I guess I could just set it to 0. I suspect that's not going to work properly, though, because it's going to try and insert with that actual ID on the insert because it's stupid. Or, yeah, I don't think I can set that to none. Because it's technically not an option. That is a really irritating design feature. It does appear the way you're supposed to do this is with 2 struts. But that causes all sorts of other really annoying problems. Okay, so hold on. Maybe it's actually got the primary key there. I may not need to define it. Hold on. Let me check something. Because you know what? This is Rust having a lot of macros, and sometimes hiding what it's actually doing. Can I please get back to my code? Thank you. Like, there's got to be a way I can path to table, primary key 1, 2, use struct field as primary key. If not used, ID is assumed to be the primary field. Implements the identifiable macro. So in this post, when you write a post, how did it get the ID? So get post ID because that's what comes back out from when it goes in. Yeah, I think I have to derive. Okay, that's fine. So where's the other window? I appear to have killed the other window. Alright, so here's what we end up doing. We go to models, we'll leave the ID here, and we're going to remove insertable off this. Then I'm going to make a second copy of this structure. I'm going to remove ID from it. And we're going to call it new. And then this one is going to be insertable. I don't like this type of code bloat. The problem is that with Rust strict... the problem is that SQLite is not a strict typing database. It's... so Rust is doing quite a bit in making my life easier in that regard. Alright, so you're not selectable. You're insertable. And like if I, and so now we add to new TPV report, and that's going to blow up. Yeah. That's going to blow up in fun and interesting ways. So now we go to lib. Alright, so where are we eating this into the database? So we eat it to the database here. So if we just change that to there, and now we get... Okay, so now we end up getting a result, and we get a TPV report back out. So that report becomes here. We insert into database. And then when we insert the AX25 frame, this file needs to be cleaned up. This is a mess. Like this file is just a dumpster fire at this point. I gotta think about how I'm actually going to do that, but so here's where we insert the from frame. And I also want to insert the TPV report. Like that, because if I insert the frame, I insert the report. Alright, and then we add here, TPV report is TID. Okay, hold on. That shouldn't have option on that model. That should always exist. Why are you complaining that that might be an option? ID is there. Oh, because I define it as a sum. Okay, hold on. I'm not convinced that's valid, but we'll go with it for now. God, this is a lot of bloody spaghetti. All right, let's nuke the database. Diesel migration redo. And then migration redo. So that's going to recreate the database. So now I just need to run it. So cargo paste, and that completely fails to work. Lovely. Oh, right. Alright, so why don't you like this? The expression is not satisfied. Okay. Why did I think using an ORM was a good idea for this? Oh, that's right. I also changed how the timestamp works. Yeah, it's receive timestamp. It's an I-64 now. And the reason it's an I-64, I think I can just do timestamp. Yeah, I think I can. Missing field source and initializer AX25 frame. Oh, right. So that can't be a semicolon. Okay, so insertable. I think this just needs to be integer. I'm more used to PostgreSQL, which has Alright, so what do you now say the schema? So now you say that's 64. So it really just doesn't like saving the timestamp like that. It's not implemented for i64. I mean, I can use a 32-bit timestamp. It's just going to be a problem in the not-so-distant future. I mean, you know what? Like, can I just put integer? Of course not. Don't I have an i64? Apparently I don't. Oh, you know, this probably has to be a float. Actually, you know what? It almost certainly has to be a float, because if I use a... Yeah, F64. Alright, I can work with that. So F64... because that turns the timestamp into a floating value, so I can use numeric. And then I can... Oh, that's not a floating point timestamp. Why? So 64-bit integer class. Okay, so it doesn't appear... Okay, so SQLite doesn't store 64-bit timestamps. That's a problem. Because I kind of wanted to do that with a timestamp. You know, maybe doing this as a string is actually still smarter. Because then I can process it as a string when it comes back out. Yeah, you know what? I think that's actually the smarter thing. Because I can always request last X rows if I want to do a... Alright, so what did I have this as? Alright, so why are you still unhappy? So there's strings. Now you should be actually happy and magic and joy. Are you actually going to run? Okay, so you are running. So if we reopen the database, and we now look at AX25 frames. Hey, look, we can now see that they have a TPV ID attached to them. So they are now recording information about when and where they were recorded. All right, that is actual progress. We are now actually getting somewhere. our relational database now has relational data in it. I do think I want to get a few more additional fields, but I'm currently using a VM. I love Postgres. I actually think it's probably one of the best and most. I enjoy it as a database, and it's never let me down. I do not want to run Postgres SQL on 1 gig of memory. No, that just sounds miserable. Um, so if we go to our APRS packet table, we could put the textual decodings here. I kind of want to do a bit more than that, because I kind of want to have locational information of where this all sort of comes out. My concern is if I ask for the latest TMV report, it's going to do an index for the whole damn thing. Like, hold on. SQLite get last row. Oh no, you know, I can just use an order by clause. That's easy enough. So I kind of wonder if the next. So I'm currently trying to think of what comes next. Because right now I have the frames going into the database. I have the location. I can always parse the frames later if I need to. So what actually helps me the next? Come next. Let me look at my little notes. I guess I do want to get the APRS packets in there. Because largely speaking, I'm only going to care about packets that have actual positional information attached to them. The problem is I don't know where the... I believe... Let's see here. Let me go up to lib. So where I currently handle the packets is... So I have APRS status, APRS message, APRS mic E, APRS position, and APRS unknown. The question is, does the top level APRS packet have the positional data, or is it later down in here? Because I'm probably going to have to do a fair bit of data processing at the end of this, and I don't know what that's going to look like. Yeah, no, so it is actually enumerated in each individual strut. But all these should be able to, like, if I have a status packet... I get the comment. I get the timestamp. Actually, no, you know what? That makes sense. I guess only the positional report would have position. Yeah, longitude, latitude, precision, symbol code, timestamp, blah, 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 blah. My message represents direct messages to and from. I mean, it does seem a little weird how this library does it, but I didn't write this library, so I kind of have to go with its design choices. Like, does the Mike E object have possible longitude, latitude on it? Yeah, see, it does, even though that object is different. I'm assuming message does not, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so message doesn't. Alright, let me lower the music a little bit. So the APRS, so every APRS packet can contain GPS positions. And then I realistically have to weed out the duplicates if I'm going to generate a KML file. Because the KML file is basically just going to read from the database. It's data in, data out. It's basically all CRUD. Which in some ways makes this a lot easier than it would be otherwise, and in some cases it makes it kind of hell on earth. So if I actually want to store GPS information, I think I need to create a table for each one of these and then tie it to its top level table, because I have the AX20, the APRS packet, and then I have the textual decoding of it. I realistically only really care about position reports right now. Although I am going to kind of care about all of them given enough time. I'm sorry. I'm mentally thinking. I'm doing some mental thinking right now. I do have new cables for. Well, I'm surprised I'm actually hearing something. I'm not hearing it directly, but via digitation, I'm actually hearing Woodbury, Connecticut. That's actually kind of impressive. Especially when you get a band opening. Yeah, I mean, well, the map is the plan. I could already do a map with X Aster, but I could also. You know, I think what I want to do is I want to clean up some of the source code first. I just want to get everything kind of like, how big is this file gone? It's not that big. It's just a lot of random crap at this point. Like, yeah, it's like I'm gonna have to go through and sort all this. This is gonna suck. All right. I'll deal with that when it gets to like 1,000 lines of code. Because I've already like reshuffled the code several times and I'm not making any actual headway with it. So it seems to me the right thing to do is to just add code to save the APRS packet itself. I almost need a table that shows me the most recently heard station so I don't have to go querying for it. Alright, let me... I've already got the table existing here because I have APRS packet. So let me define the model for APRS packet right now, and then we'll come back around to it. So APRS packet log, we have ID, and that's going to be in 32. Frame ID, which we're going to do as a string. I don't know if I really like that, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Oh, no, sorry. Frame ID is actually going to be the AX25 frame that this is attached to. Source, hold on. Packet type is going to be string. And then it's just going to be the textual decoding that we are already getting for each type of packet. And then why are you already complaining? All right, because you're pointing at the wrong table. APRS packets. I actually don't need raw frame because I'm saving it as the AX25 data. Cannot deserialize. Why is it complaining? Requires... Not satisfied. It requires loading target column names for loading values. You need to define a type that explicitly receives derivable. I swear, this is, I just get weirder and more bizarre failures. APRS packets. Is my schema up to date? Oh, right. Hold on. The redo had not run properly. That explains a lot of it. So now, if I do a cargo build... Yeah, so these... Okay, so this needs to be not null. That's all that actually needs to be. Okay, so that actually built. So now if I want to yeet a APRS packet, how am I actually going to do that? I'm also dealing with the fact that I just recently migrated my mailbox off Gmail. Like, the migration is currently in progress. All right, so I think what we have to do is we need to insert APRS packet in database. Okay, so let me just comment out the everything in this file right now because I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to actually do this. So we're going to want the AX25. We're going to want the frame report. And we're going to want the packet, which is going to be an APRS packet. So that's APRS packet. You have an unresolved import. That's fine. So now that is resolved. So when we get to the actually putting the thing in here, this is where we unwrap the packet. I want to insert APRS packet into database. Okay, so now, alright, so now that gets called. Yeah, that gets called. We end up here to insert into database. Chat, I think I'm okay with... I think once I get this implemented, I'm okay with this becoming version 4.0. I still want it to report statistics, but other than that, I think we're actually... I think this is actually going to be fairly close to what version 4.0 is going to be. Because then I can deploy this to the Pi, and then I can start having results in a database. Because I think what I'm going to work after this is going to be the keyhole stuff, and I will start moving on to a new migration, because at least all the key data should be in El database. So, yeah, we're just going to go with that, El database. So, insert APRS packet in DB. So we get the packet here, and we end up with, if we go to our models... So we also... Okay, so actually we need to get rid of insertable here. Because, like, this last time... queryable... Insertable. Alright, so APRS packet log, frame ID. So that one gets yeeted. So that's going to be new APRS packet log. Okay, so that's easy enough to figure out. Frame ID is... Frame ID would be FRID. Packet type. Packet type. That would actually be in main. Right, so packet data. So that returns a type ID. How do I turn type ID to string Rust? Oh, maybe not. That's not how that works. How do I, you know, what's probably easiest to do is let type ID equal match packet data. And then... Mike E. APRS data. Status. Okay, does that actually work? Okay, so then that becomes packet type, type ID, and then we just need to put the textual decoding. Alright, so we get the packet, and then we just need to put the packet, we just have to get the string. And then we insert into APRS packets table. We insert the packet report. We have an APRS packet. APRS packet log. Ever saving. APRS packet. Why is it telling me to do toString here? Like, apparently that works. I don't know. And then you're having problems here. No field ID. Oh, right, because I have to do the same horse shit I did here that... Yeah. Yeah, I have to do the same thing here. So, this needs to be new frame report. New frame report. Okay, that's all happy and joy. We get rid of insertable here. Insertable. Okay, so you're missing the ID field because it needs to be up here. Now I just need to fix the frame, because it has to be new. That goes in, that goes out. Use after move. Oh, right, you need to be cloned. I think we're good. Does it build? Alright, let me do a redo. Alright, so the question now is, does that actually end up in ye olde databasey? Chat, that looks like data being put in the database. We have 2 position reports, and we have the full textual decoding of the packet, which is also nice because that means that's a secondary copy of the APRS information. I don't know if that's perfect, but, I mean, that's the data going in. Although, realistically speaking, I should probably parameterize this. I just don't think I'm going to do it yet. I think I have to make a more comprehensive data set before I'm going to be able to do that. Yeah, look, I mean, look, it's going right in. We have Mikey, we have position reports. I think I want to let this run for about half an hour to make sure it's not just going to crash suddenly on me. And then I think I want to probably migrate this over to the Pi. I probably have a lot more work I need to do on this, but this is fine as a version 4, 0.4, and I can continue to migrate it forward over time. Hey, Dennis Hill. Sorry, I haven't been watching chat very closely. I've been mostly keeping an eye out on what I'm doing and such. So I think we're going to just... Let me bring a stopwatch up. Okay, so there's our online internet stopwatch. You know what? I really think we should install uBlock Origin if I'm going to use the web on this. It's not what I want, because this has Firefox on it. Okay, and now all the ads are gone. Oh, we have to reload the page. Okay, hold on. Reload. And now all the ads are gone. Alright, so basically I'm waiting to see if this is going to last for 30 minutes. Because if it lasts for 30 minutes, I'm going to feel pretty comfortable with it. I have to think about what I'm actually going to do next. But this largely sums up what I think version 4 had to be. There may be quite a bit more stuff I need to do with it, because I think I'm going to have to do more in-depth encoding of the packets. Tonight on the on N Shopping Channel, I want you to buy X, Y, and Z. Like, some of these are actually really quite interesting. It shows how different you can hear packets through different routes. Like, I think I want to break down. I kind of want to be being able to have a running statistic of. Did I tell you to keep this on top? No, apparently I have Firefox view, but I can't pin a window. Here it is, always on top. Okay, so I think I want statistics of packets captured, which I can realistically just do with a select statement. I mean, that's essentially what this is going to look like. All right, I'm gonna stretch my feet. Like, that's me. This is me getting my starting energy for the day. So I'm gonna stretch. We're gonna just let this run. So how goes everyone else's morning? That was a failed decode. So you know what? Failed decodes don't actually get logged right now. Or actually, they do get logged. I think they do get logged. We'll have to create a few queries to basically generate the statistics report. Because I think I'm going to want last 30 minutes. You know, I think I just going to want the total. Yeah, let's keep it simple for now, because the more I have to code, the more difficult this gets. All right. I'll be back in a little bit, because this is going to keep running while I keep thinking about it while I stare at the data. You know, I'm wondering if it's possible to use if I could use the compact portable to talk to the International Space Station. This is actually looking pretty solid thus far. See, if I'm going to make a keyhole, if I'm going to do stuff with processing keyhole data, actually, you know, that may not be as bad as I think it's going to be. I actually don't think it's going to be that bad at all. Yeah, I think working on keyhole stuff is actually the next big thing. The reason I'm kind of mulling that right now is if I can successfully create a keyhole map to my satisfaction, um, then I know the data coming out of the database is good. And so what I probably need to do is I need to do a select, request the last, I don't know, 500 position reports. Filter it by 30 minutes. You know, it has to be more recent than the last 30 minutes. So I guess realistically I need the AX25 frames. This is the type of thing that is probably really easy to code in Python. It's going to kind of suck in Rust, but I still have to figure out how I'm going to get this off the Pi. Now, I do have an access hotspot that I can use with the Pi as kind of a test run. And I'm going to be spending some time in Baltimore before the actual drive, so I will have some time to adjust this in its final configuration, but nonetheless, time is kind of running low. So far, so good, though. All right. So yeah, I think the next thing I want to do is start generating a keyhole file. I just got to figure out how I'm going to serve it. I think the easiest way to do that would be with a Rust HTTP server. I mean, most of the code I've run this through is pretty stable, so I'm not really expecting any database woes, but this is probably one of the first times I've run it with the database going full tilt. Um, Because right now I feel like I still don't have a whole lot to show for this. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just kind of mulling right now because I'm not sure what... I do think... Like, if I just took keyhole data and made it the TVV pop pop out. Like, if we now refresh it, look at all the data that's going into that database. It's already put 90 rows in. So it's already recording a lot of data as is, which kind of makes me happy. Because ultimately, I can always decode this. And if we go back up to the top level database structure, how big is this database right now? 65 kilobytes. Yeah, that should realistically not be an actual problem with it running. I mean, I could realistically run this. Actually, I have to think about that. I actually have to think about that because there is an argument on running this on an SDR instead of on the main radio. I would need 2 mag mount antennas to make that viable. But I could actually do it. I mean, this is a really late... I mean, I already tested most of this setup. I have tested this setup with an SDR. The way it all works is... The advantage of doing it with the SDR is I can run the Pi off a USB battery pack, and that will run for about 2 bloody days. And I can just switch out the pack as I need to, which means that it will record constantly. It just won't be able to beacon while the car is turned off. But that would give me a full duplex setup. Because ultimately, I have a, like I said, I have a 5G hotspot right here. I mean, it's in my hand. I haven't activated it with T-Mobile yet, but I do have it. I bought specifically for this purpose. And I have the SIM card sitting right here. Maybe the next thing to do... Do I want to put the Pi on the internet next? I'm... Actually, no, this is actually coming up on a good time to do some work on the rig. And the reason I say it's a good time to do some work on the rig is I'm going to have to shut down the tracker, and the tracker right now doesn't have persistent storage over sessions. So, yeah, this actually is probably a good time to shut down. In fact, I don't even think it's running now that I actually think about it, which kind of sucks because that's lost data capture. You know what, let me just look on the other computer and let me pop into the Pi. Because at this point, I bought new cables. More specifically, I bought a rig kit that should do the magic for it. Why can I not? Oh, right, because that's not my username. Oh, no, it is actually still logging packets, surprisingly. How many, just out of curiosity, how many have I actually logged on the Pi thus far? Because it's running a earlier version of this code, so it's not very smart. It has logged 48,000 packets. The current version on the Pi. Which kind of it's kind of cool to know that it's churned through that much. Alright, so... Yeah, so I think the argument is we should deploy this on the Pi. I should switch over to the new cables. And then I have to think about if there's a way to do... My concern is that if I transmit on the SDR, while the SDR is plugged in, it will loop in upon itself, so they cannot share an antenna. Let's see. I'm currently just reading some technical stuff on... Yeah, I think what I would have to do is I'd have to run 2 antennas. There's nothing stopping me from doing that, though, because I could realistically stick both of them on the Prius. Although, you know, I haven't actually tried this mag mount on the Prius. I've had it since my last car. It's been sitting in my closet for 4 years. That's an important thing I actually should really try, because if this antenna solution doesn't work on the Prius, I am entirely boned. Actually, this is starting to sound like a very first good idea test, is to get this version of the code running, get the Pi running with the SDR and the mag mount to understand how well it hears, and get it online through the hotspot. That sounds like an actionable task I can do today, because I have an allocation of IPs from 44net, so I can put the Pi on the internet pretty easily and give it a public IP. This is technically for radio use, but I think this can, you know what, I'll send a note to ARDA if I end up changing the usage. So how do I actually, so I think we actually do want to set this up. So 44net. Oh, that's I didn't actually notice that before. They have the actual XKCD on there. Yeah, so if I bring this up, we have 44net. Wow, that's slow. Amateur radio digital communication. And now I request an allocation. So let me look up their wiki. So how exactly do I set this up? There's a few ways to actually do it. I can't announce it directly. Oh, that's garbage. An internet connection that gives you a stable IP address for the rest of the network to talk to you. I thought there was a less stupid way of doing this. Like, I thought there was an actual gateway. Services available on 44net. Like, there's really very little on 44net anymore, which is depressing. Internet VPN. Okay, so hold on. I actually have to think about this one because this just changed the dynamics. Because the way I thought this worked is that this worked basically as a VPN, but this VPN looks like it's died off. I think I screwed up because my allocation looks like it's for the wrong one. 44net can help you get started quickly. Networks that use 44net. You know what the smart... Hold on. Shit, this is actually a bigger problem that I completely glossed over. How the hell am I going to get this on the internet? Ultimately, I have an internet connection, but I need the Pi to be able to talk to broader internet. This might be the sort of solution IPv6 can make, can help or make much, much worse. Because the IP address on the Pi is going to move. It's a mobile client. It doesn't have a static home. And the IP address on the Pi will move as the Pi moves across the country. It's... The way T-Mobile does it is called LTL 464. So the Pi doesn't even know its own IP address. I think the Pi is going to have to connect to a VPN in the cloud. Oh, this is actually a much bigger pain in the ass than I realized. I may have asked for the wrong type of allocation. I gotta figure out if I fucked myself up or not. Portal, wiki. Already have an account. I'm looking at it on the other panel. Because I requested a /28, but I didn't quite realize the logistics of getting it online. And they take literal days to process tickets. So, login notification. My IP address was... Yeah, so they assigned me... Yeah, so they did actually assign me address space. So DNS, my domains, my records. So I have to request a subdomain on their website. So basically, how do I get this to work? So quick start. Select mesh. You need to add a record for each host on your local network. Unless it's associated with a host name in the ampr.org domain. So it has to come from basically a static net on the IP address. Okay, I see how I'm going to have to do this. This is going to suck. I'm repeating myself, but it's going to suck. So it looks like I can just request my subdomain if I just put my call sign in. And it should approve. Yeah, it approved automatically. So now I have a subdomain. And I can now add A records for said subdomain, which gives me access to the 44 host backend. Here. Once your assignments are granted, you register your gateway on the portal. All gateways. I'm assuming there's something on. Oh, here it is. My gateways. Create a gateway. Okay, so if I look at how the gateways on the 44 net, I know you guys can't see this. It's mostly because I'm looking through this on the other side of this, trying to figure out exactly how this all kind of glues together in a horrible, horrible way. It looks like gateways. There's a database of all gateways, their public IP address, and the subnets they serve on the portal that's dynamically used to generate routing information that's distributed to all gateways via the modified RIP advertisements. Well, we're 30 minutes in, and it hasn't blown up yet. That being said, I have now hit a logistical design problem that I don't know how to solve. How the hell am I going to have to... I guess what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to run a VPN in the fucking cloud. I have done that before. It just kind of sucks. Yeah, I think OpenVPN is the easiest way to do it. And then the Pi can... Let's see here. Raspberry Pi establish VPN connection on startup. Am I really going to go through all the hoops to have a fucking VPN server? I assume I have one in the cloud because I've had to do quite a few VPNs in the past. Do I have one actually set up right now? Because if I do, at least it makes this less miserable. I do not. Do I? I don't even have OpenVPN installed in the cloud. Fuck. Alright, so how do I go about making a VPN? I think I had WireGuard set up at one point, actually. I did actually have WireGuard set up, but I never had a lot of luck with it. You know, I wonder if this is something I can just throw money at. Oh god, I'm actually looking at NordVPN. Am I serious here? How much do they actually want for a dedicated IP? Like, is this... Because if it's actually a oh wow, that's a 2-year fucking price plan. Yeah, why do I feel like this is not even offered on their basic plans? Like, you'd have to pay for the effing nose sort of plan. Optimize your server's anonymity with public IPv4. Oh, good lord. You know what? They're actually honest about that. Like, it says that you should not use it for streaming or watching TikTok. Like, I mean, let's be honest. For those who watch the NordVPN ads on YouTube, that's like what they always fucking advertise. Is there a company that's less scummy than this? This is just a list of known VPN providers. It doesn't actually tell me who is willing to give someone, What I had done previously is I had set up WireGuard. My problem with WireGuard, or more specifically doing a fucking VPN on Linux, is the goddamn Linux, the network stack changes every, like, fucking release. It's why it keeps breaking is because seems to be the most unstable shit known to mankind. I'm really just sitting here pondering hard. I can use my phone, but I won't get a public IP address. Here in the United States, T-Mobile uses what's called 464LX. It's essentially carrier-grade NAT. I do believe I get a real IPv6 address. What does Surfshark want? No, this definitely looks like something you have to, like, pay for extra after you already have it. Oh, here it is. Dedicate to your current plan. Assuming you don't have a Raspberry... See, that's the other thing. This needs a Raspberry Pi client. You support WireGuard, IKEv2, and OpenVPN. I'm inclined to just... What would they set me back for a month? Like, realistically, if I want it... Yeah. I mean, realistically speaking, it's $50 for a year or $15 for a month. I don't know. Maybe I should send them an email and ask if they're willing to sponsor me. I really don't want to flipping set my own. Well, let me look at before I discount it out of hand. The problem I have with doing this with... See, I can do this with a different cloud provider. The reason I'm kind of avoiding doing it is I don't want to do my own network administration. I'm really trying to avoid that to the extent possible. Because ultimately speaking, if I pay someone for a VPN, I just have to worry about the client. I don't have to worry about updates. I don't have to worry about anything else. And that sort of peace of mind is actually worth a lot to me. Because, I mean, there's additional aspects to this. Realistically speaking, you need two IPs. You need a public IP for the host, and you need a public IP for the Pi. Because if you don't have two IPs, then you have to deal with port forwarding. That's an additional thing that I'm trying to avoid here. Am I really going to sign up for Surfshark? Like, I feel like all the fucking YouTube ads are going to laugh at me for this. I think I've already made the decision in my brain to do it. I'm just procrastinating on it. But my thought here is that with the Pi having a public IP address, and if they're doing Wireshark, then I can set up Wireshark on the Pi, and it's Movad VPN. Free the internet. Commercial VPN service. You know, hold on. Wait. I literally just started paying for Proton Mail. Don't they offer a VPN service? Like, I might actually already have one. Because I pay for Proton Mail. Do you actually offer dedicated IPs, though? VPN servers. No, this literally looks like for people who just want to download stuff. Let me see what Business VPN offers. No, this literally doesn't have what I need. I need a static IP. I could even get away with an IPv6 address, but... Because then I could also announce it through 44net and put it online there. I mean, Dennis Hill. The reason I hesitate to take up offers like this is because I've been burned pretty badly in the past. I'm on a very tight time deadline here. I literally have a budget for my YouTube channel, which I'm well within for this year because I haven't been super active. Paying, if I need, like, I literally would need some, like, actual support if it doesn't work. But realistically, with a commercial offering, I'm not even going to need that. I know the solution is going to work. That's really why it's looking at like that. I think. Who else was I looking at besides Proton? Let me look at Molvad VPN. So $1, $5, €5 a month. You accept crypto, which I don't actually care about. Do you offer static IPs? Quantum resistant VPN tunnels. That one I'll believe when I see it. Yeah, so their whole network supports WireGuard, IKEv2, and OpenVPN. One of those will successfully work from the Pi on T-Mobile. I mean, I'll look at NordVPN again. Like, I can compare the prices side by side. Here, how much does it cost for a decade? So, a month-to-month dedicated IP subscription costs $9 a month, but a 1 year breaks down to $5. How much does Surfshark want for a dedicated IP? Surfshark only wants $3.55 for a dedicated IP. So what that realistically works out to be, it honestly makes more sense to buy the 12-month plan if I intend to use this more than once. Because ultimately, this is just going to live in the damn car. So it basically comes down to a $60 fee now for a full year, plus another $60 for an IP for a year. That's actually not all that bad when you really get right down to it. Because I can make this a dedicated node for 44net, and I presume you can attach more than one device to it. Like, how many devices am I allowed to do with Surfshark? Multiple devices. I hate how much of this is scare. Like, this is like to protect your loved ones online. It's like VPN isn't going to do that. Because if I can get multiple dedicated IPs on Surfshark, that actually is not horrible. Okay, so you only get one per account, so that doesn't actually... That's not amazing. Public fucking IP... Wait, hold on, but it's not actually that tragic. Because ultimately speaking, as long as I have one VPN running, I could route 44 net traffic. You know what? I'm just going to Google it. Dedicated public IP for a Raspberry Pi. I have set up a tunnel broker with Hurricane Electric, but from what I remember with them, you have to have it on a stack IP, which doesn't work on a T-Mobile connection. The whole problem is that this is a 5G connection. Tailscale? So what's their pricing? So per user per month, unlimited users, devices. No, unfortunately, I'm starting to think Surfshark is actually the best solution to this. Yeah, it's the publicly accessible part. Let me see if anyone's actually tried this before I actually try it. Surfshark host web server dedicated IP. Okay, so you can't do port forwarding with Surfshark. So it was a good thing I actually looked that up. So it is actually just a complete... I'm not going to say it's a complete scam because they do offer what it is. But it really does feel like a snake oil product looking at it. So Tailscale, zero tail if you want to host it for a long period of time. Install the app and sign in to get started. So up to 3 users of public domain. Magic DNS. I mean, I could just run an application server in the cloud. Or I'm going to have to just build my fucking VPN from scratch, which I really don't want to do, but I might have to. How much does Linode need for an extra IP address? I mean, if I just requested a second IP address as is, although I'd still have to route it, which sucks. Like, it's that routing part I really just don't want to deal with, but I think I'm not going to get out of it. God damn it. Okay, so I can use a server logged into Tailscale and then expose that to a public IP advises the. Okay, hold on. That actually sounds like that might work. Like, so if I want to set up a server, off key to provision it. Like, this feels. Alright, hold on. What is Tailscale? It's a VPN service that makes devices and applications you own anywhere accessible in the world securely and effortlessly. It enables point-to-point encryption with the open source WireGuard protocol, which means only devices on your private network can communicate with each other. Building on top of the secure network fabric, blah, 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 blah. Uh... No, I actually think this might work. I need to keep thinking about the next part of this. So let me start sketching some things down, because at this point I feel like my train of thought is actually getting away from me. Because ultimately we've kind of gone down a rabbit hole, and I want to make sure I haven't gone off the planet. So we've received 349 packets thus far. So actually, you know what? Let me just use design.doc. Actually, Chad, I think that's where we're going to be looking at this, because if I have it running on with the SDR and off a USB pack, as long as I change the USB pack out every day, it will basically just run. I would want at some point I'm going to want a fancier circuit for that, but an SDR does not pull much power. Do I have a USB extender cable? My answer is probably no, and yes, yeah, the answer is no. Because with the DigiRig cabling to the main radio, I can run 2 instances of Direwolf. One for the SDR, one for the main radio. Yeah, Chad, I think you've actually helped me with this. I think Tailscale is actually the way I want to go with this. I still need to set up the hotspot and stuff. But this is a good starting point. All right. I think I'm going to I think setting up Tailscale next is actually the thing I want to do. And we'll set it up both here and on the Pi. I have to make the account. I'm going to take a bit of a break, so we're just going to let this run and let it continue decoding packets. We can listen to. We can put some. I'm going to put the jazz. I'm going to restart the jazz playlist from. Yeah, let's hear. Let's listen to some more jazz. Like sweet jazz is nice. Well, right now, I don't need it publicly exposed to the internet. That would be nice, but I don't need that as of yet. I just need a way for it to basically be plug and play between the MacBook Pro, my laptop, and maybe a VPS. So if I can get that, awesome. If not, I'm going to have to I probably will have to set up a full VPN in the cloud, which I really don't want to do, but if I have to do it, I'll do it. So, I will be back. What's really interesting about this is we might be able to even try and see if we can go online with the Pi over AX25. I actually think I want to try that. But one step at a time. So I think Tailscale is the next place to go, and I may call up T-Mobile and get this hotspot set up. Actually, that may be. I'm not going to do that immediately because I can separate the Pi to its own internet connection as is, but that's something I'm going to have to do, quote unquote, soon. So let's let's grab the Tailscale installer, and let's just install it on the Pi. Like, let's just get step 1 done. All right. So download. All right, you're probably like pinned, aren't you? All right, so that's cool. So log in to start using Tailscale by running. So let me make a account on the other screen. Uh, Honestly, I'm just gonna sign in with GitHub. That just makes it easier. All right, so authorize. Does this count as? I guess this is personal use. I mean, technically speaking, I'm doing a YouTube video on it, but I'm using this network for myself. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna say this is personal use. So on Linux. All right, so I just need to do Tailscale up here. And then we authenticate this on the other terminal. Okay, and that's connected. So now if I go to the Raspberry Pi, wow, I am, the pain is bad. So that's that's installing there. Okay. So now we need to wait for a second device on this network. I probably need to rename this VM. It should not be Debian. That's taking its sweet ass time. Why is that hanging? Why is that hanging? Wait, why are you doing a traceback in command not found? I mean, you read the package list okay. You downloaded it okay. Not fast to download. Yeah, you know, I think I need a second mag mount because I think I want to do something really kind of... Alright, so tailscaled D. Alright, that's a start. Tailscale D. Chat, you're really awesome for introducing me to this. I think I may actually contact them and see if, like, they're willing to sponsor a video if this actually works. Alright, so my device Milliways is now connected. I can now visit the console. Machine settings, edit machine name. And this is Infinity Way Linux VM. Alright, so we update that. So, in theory, I can do Milliways and... Oh, chat, that's amazing. That is absolutely, like... That is incredible, and I wish I knew about this a long time ago. Like, I kid you not. That is absolutely freaking kick-ass. Okay, so now I have a remote way of getting in and out of the Pi. The reason I'm running Bullseye on the Pi is that's what I had on the Pi when I started this project. This is an old Pi. I've had this Pi for a long time. It's literally been my project computer for multiple streams and such. I've used it for ham radio stuff in the Pi. I just didn't reinstall it. Yeah, I'm actually really impressed by that because I know what that involves to actually build, and I don't know. Maybe at some point I'm going to want to build a product again. All right. So I now have a way to remote into the Pi when it's off the home network, which is where it's going to go next. I think I have to do some shopping on Amazon, and we'll price this out now while I am currently still able to do so. So the first thing I know that I'm actually going to need is a USB extender. Not quite like that, like this. I might actually have one. I just need to look through the piles of shit. That being said, a lot of it's already on the West Coast. Because this will let me plug the... Unless I want to get a new SDL, because mine is very similar to this, but the suction cup for the radio, for the antenna, is missing. I don't know where it is. I have the antenna, I just don't have the rest of it. So it's not as usable as I would like. Alternatively, so the other way I could do this is I could use a mag mount antenna very similar to this. This may actually be the one I am using. And then just put an adapter on it so I could use it with the SDR. Because this will be specifically tuned to 2 meter and 70 centimeter. That being said, if I use the SDR antenna, I could conceivably hear HF. I feel like that's getting a little bit overly ambitious for this project. There are ways I could put in HF. I have not had good luck with homebrewing car antennas. I have managed to do homebrew via 2 meter and HF antennas. I have not made a car antenna work. I could not get a car antenna to work. Pluto SDR. Seems to bring me to exactly the same thing. Well, let me look it up. The thing is that I have used this type of mag mount with an SDR before successfully, and this is currently the same type of antenna that I am using with the radio base. I actually think this is what I'm using right here, a genuine Niyoga. The problem is, I'm pretty sure this was the other way you can do it is you can do what's called a ham stick. Not like that. This is the other option. This is normally used for HF. But my rig does HF. Because realistically, how I'm going to get on HF, at least in the short term, is that this is going to be a car-powered station. I'm literally, when I'm out in Oregon, I probably will just connect a deep cycle battery to the car, or to the rig being in the car. I'm a little worried about ignition noise, but it's also a Prius. Also, ham sticks tend to be stupidly expensive. I also have to get the mount installed on the car. There's not a lot of good ways to do it. On a Prius, anyway. The problem... So, here's the problem I have. Raspberry Pi... Like, you can get these lithium ion packs for a Raspberry Pi, but I haven't figured out a good way to recharge the damn thing. Hold on. Battery pack for Pi. Is there a way I can actually... Yeah, battery pack only. You know what? Let me see here. Raspberry Pi UPS. See, that's a Pi 4, and I have a Pi 3, although it should still work. So this gives me a Type-C socket to power the Pi with. The problem is that my existing case would not work with this. Do you offer a case? Because a case would actually be really fucking nice right now. Because this wasn't how I was originally going to do it, but I'm almost wondering if this makes more sense. I put the lithium... Yeah, because this will work with a 3B, which is what I'm pretty sure mine's a 3B. I mean, I could order a new Pi, but they're expensive. Yeah, it's a model 3B 1.2. So yeah, that would actually work. So I would stick the cells in it. How long do those cells last? Actually, what's this one? Okay, so this is the one that has without batteries. I like how it says choking hazard, like something. So here we go. Or does this just not come with the batteries? Batteries not included. I mean, if it comes with the spacers... Thing is that I know that I can run it for literally 2 days, for almost over a day, almost 2 days on a USB battery pack. Like, all these look really flipping miserable to implement. That said... Do they sell USB UPS systems? I'd assume that this is a thing that exists. AC in... I mean, I could charge this with an inverter easily. Because I'm going to be drawing, like, what? Nothing off this? A Pi with an SDR, because then realistically it would run indefinitely. Let me see what chat's saying. Well, that's what I am using. With me is using a power bank. The problem is I can't charge a power bank while it's charging the Pi, at least not with the banks I have. But yeah, I think something like this might be exactly, you know what? Let me see here, like, backup battery supply, UPS. I don't think I couldn't run the radio off this, but I could easily run, like, okay, you know, I think that's a little bit overkill. Because remember, this is a car. I'm not made of power. I mean, chat, that looks really crudely. That looks really crudely photoshopped. I mean, doesn't that look like someone's like literally? The device doesn't seem to have that many ports, or does it? Well, I don't mind changing the battery out at least for a trial run because I've got like 3 power banks and none of them charge and discharge at the same time, which is depressing. The problem is that if I take the Pi out of its case, then how do I mount it? Because then I would just have a raw circuit board with lithium batteries in the back of my car, which I don't know about you, does not make me happy, happy, fuzzy. You know, I'm curious, what is a deep cycle battery going to run me? Like, if I had one of these honkin' ones, I could run the full rig off battery. Because ultimately, this is what an amateur radio wants to run off of. It's not going to be super with the car, with it running off the car battery. A car battery is not deep cycle. And Toyota has this really scary warning about yeah, Priuses actually have a warranty about it, a warranty issue. On amateur, have their book says that the warranty doesn't support the power draw as required, but it's not. It's kind of horseshit. Then again, apparently Priuses are used by... Yeah, actually, no, I knew that. I've seen them, NYPD police cars. So yeah, you know what? That's not going to be a problem with the actual wiring. So as long as the car's on, it should be fine. The problem is that I'm probably going to have to connect it to the battery terminals, which means... Because the Yatsu manual specifically says do not connect it to the fuse box. The problem with not connecting it to the fuse box means that it's going to drain off the main battery whenever it's running. I've got the separation kit, so I can put the front panel in the back. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my other concern with doing this, is I really don't want to have to jump a Prius. It sucks. It just really sucks. Okay, so Tailscale solves an actual problem. I am thinking I'm going to want to run 2 Direwolf instances. More specifically, I think I'm going to want... Yeah, actually, I think I want to have the data feed coming off an SDR. The more I think about it, the more I like this idea. Because this also simplifies the car part of the problem quite a bit. And it also solves a completely separate problem that I didn't know how I was going to solve. Hold on, I'm actually legitimately thinking if this helps or not. It makes the whole it makes the receiver situation a lot simpler. And for what I'm doing, I guess I don't actually care because I literally have the SDR. A laptop won't last anywhere as long as a Pi will. I mean, I do have the Chromebook, which I could hypothetically do this with, but I don't have a lot of mounting space. And with the way it is in the Prius, I'm going to have boxes on top of, essentially on my Prius. Let me see if I can find a picture of it, because obviously, yeah. So essentially, on the back of the Prius, this area is basically going to be covered up with crap. The spare wheels goes here, and then there's a plastic insert that goes on top of it. Um, you know what? I'll pull the video up and I'll just pause it because this is something like I really want to be able to show, and I want to make sure my mental image of how this looks. Wow, this is like such a 90s car video. All right, so remove rear deck board. Yeah, so that's basically how the back of it looks. There's storage compartments here to the left, and there's one to the right. And then this comes out, and the wheel sits here. So I want to mount the radio in this bay, and there are some things already in this bay, so it's not like a free-for-all. Like there's a bunch of tools and such that are there. So nuke UPS. Yeah, that won't work for a radio. When I say deep cycle, I mean deep cycle. You're talking about a continuous draw starting at 5 watts and going up from there. I mean, amateur radio is in a literal league of, is a entirely different power league than conventional stuff. Like, I forget how much how much does an iPhone ERIP put out? Yeah, I mean, basic modern cell phones work on milliwatts. And handheld radio, we're talking watts. We're literally gone up an order of magnitude. It's why powering a transmitter is painful, and then going up onto HF actually makes it even worse. That said, if I had the Pi running entirely independently, because now that I have a new set of rig cables, which I should test, I should have rig control again, which is not a bad thing to have. Like, I'm really starting to come up to this deadline where I'm not going to be able to order any more parts. Yeah, you know, I think I've just been convinced that I want to put the SDR. I think I'm going to have to do SDR test with the Prius, and I might even do a test later tonight. All right, let me order the USB extension cable because that's the one thing I know for a fact I'm going to need if I use an SDR. Actually, I may not actually need it, but it's probably still a good idea to have it. So I'm going to add that to the cart, and I can actually get that by tomorrow. So let me make a good old charge on the YouTube account. All right. So that's the USB extension cable. Yep, and that is due for delivery tomorrow. Okay, so that means I can now run the SDR. I need to now have a VPN solution that is quote unquote viable. All right, I think yeah, no, I'm actually that's actually quite a bit of a win right there. So, I think the next thing I'm going to have to do I don't think I want to do the T-Mobile activation of this hotspot device on camera just for what I hope are semi-obvious reasons. Because this would also give me my first real chance of testing with the GPS device on the car. Because I know the GPS works. I know we now have packet logging basically working the way it's intended to be working. Um, if I shove a handheld in there, I would even... Actually, you know what? I needed a second mag mount antenna. Uh, and I also need the adapter. Wow, some of these are really flippin' cheap. They have it as little as $10. All right, yeah, I'll grab that. And then I need an SMA to oh, hold on. This adapter has it's an SMA male adapter. I believe that is what my SDR requires. Where's my SDR? Yeah, that is actually what it requires. Okay. So that means I have a dedicated 2-meter receive antenna, and I don't actually need the radio in the car for this to work. So I have just drastically simplified my failure modes. I also now have full duplex, which I had other ways of achieving, but this is nice. So, yeah, let me grab that as well. Okay. And that order is complete. Alright, so I have now just spent money on my YouTube channel. Yay. Alright, so that means... So, yeah, so I bought the... I did that on the other terminal just so, you know, it's like I don't accidentally leak credential information. You know, I wonder how long, like... I just had a brainwave, and I haven't decided if it's a good brainwave or a bad brainwave. But I could do this with a handheld, actually. Because I just need the handheld to transmit beacons. I don't actually need to receive on it, because the SDR is going to do that a lot better. But if I can also get the base station installed, I mean, why not just install the base station? It's going to be better in the car than anything else I have, especially connected to the Pi with a dedicated internet connection. Like, I mean, I think that makes sense to me. All right. So, okay, so I just figured out the SDR thing. We figured out the VPN thing. We figured out a few of the other major details for this. So basically, it's a place mark. So syncing data. See, I don't know if using like an APRS client is better or worse from this. Oh, camel file. I still would like a better fuck all battery solution than what I have. Let me see if I can find a hold on. USB power bank that can charge and use same time. Okay, so the term that I'm looking for is called pass-through charging, and I have a couple of recommendations on a power bank that might work. These are $30 each. Okay, hold on. I'm actually going to bring this up on the other screen to show you what I'm looking at. So apparently these are known to successfully be able to pass through and charge. Power output of 22 watts, slim design, voltage is 5 watts. So it can put out 10 watt hours. Let me look at some of the other ones that they offer on here. Fast charging. I mean, I did find a YouTube comment that confirmed that this one works, although I would kind of prefer a better battery if I could get one, because that one kind of looks... that one looks like an old shit one. Because battery technology has come a long way. Fast charging, huge capacity for most external devices on the net. Well, I mean, I have a handheld. I have a Baofeng with a easy DigiKit, so that's easy enough. I've never tried to use the USB charging jack on it, but I mean, if I can have the whole thing run on fuck off battery, fuck off battery is like win. Because ultimately, with pass-through charging, I can basically charge it off USB-C. So a mini DC UPS. Voltaic power banks are what I'm looking for. Oh, okay, hold on. Hold the boat. That might actually be a viable option. Wow, they really have gone small, but I don't think I can get solar on the roof of the Prius very easily, and I think I'm going to have things on the Prius roof for this drive, so... Yeah, this is not looking promising. Oh, here we go. Rad power, free fall... I don't want an ad. I want to actually read the blasted... Come on, I want to learn more. Can I please learn more? Okay, hold on. Apparently this is not a feature they want to make. So apparently this would work, but wow, that is pricey. And it's a lightning deal, so it's like but that does actually provide 100 and how long does this actually provide like that much power I could I don't think I could actually run my radio off it, but my god, we're in the right ballpark. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to change the battery out. Uh, like they even put the heatsink on the damn thing. Of course, that needs to be, like I said, I have a Pi 3. I could get a Pi 3, but I have to restart a bunch of my work. I don't know. I'm starting to go a little bit spare here. I mean, this is looking like the closest thing I actually would want. I just need a mounting solution for it. I guess I could just put it in Tupperware and use hot glue. I mean, 6,000 milliamps, how long is that actually going to last? Yeah, U green is decent. I don't disagree. I just am debating if that's the way I want to go. Well, I mean, again, it's a Pi 3. It really does not get hot, so I'm not super worried about it. Does it come with the standoffs? I want to make sure that comes with the standoffs. So you need 5 volts DC. Okay, so it doesn't include the standoffs. Or does it? It says it's not included and it is included. It's quantum uncertainty. Four pin header. Key features 5.1 max 6 amps, recharge threshold, EPS charging current, top C. So it does include standoffs. And there's like the Geek Worm metal case that goes with it. Okay, so there is that. So yeah, there's like this heatsink case. Well, if I'm just using the SDR, it literally runs at USB 2 power. So it's really like it's like fucking nothing. The radio itself is going to be pulling off the car alternator, but that's only if I use the big battery, the big rig. If I use the handheld, it has its own dedicated handheld battery, and it can trickle charge. Ultimately, it's not going to be beaconing frequently, but I think having the radio installed in the car is the right call here. I have historically not had good luck with handhelds in cars. It does work, it just doesn't work well. I'm going to actually think about this, chat. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to mute the mic. We're going to watch the feed for a while and see if it's still going. I'll be back in a little bit as I think about this, because this is proving to be something of an interesting design problem. You know, chat, I might actually decide to make some quote-unquote lunch here. Because I've been streaming for 3 hours right now. I'm sorry. I'm really, my brain is like completely spinning. It's like I've run out of cognitive energy. I'm gonna leave the stream up. I'm gonna leave it muted for now. I'm gonna cook something and I'm gonna see if I feel better. I'll probably be back in 20 to 30 minutes. I'm just gonna leave it running. I got the quesadilla on the stove. I think I kind of want to put this in the car. I might actually shut the stream down. Go put this setup in the car. Well, actually, first I gotta charge up my USB brick, and see how much I can realistically actually hear. Although I probably need the extension cables for that. That's the GPS mount. You know, chat, that may be actually what I might end up doing. Oh, and that's me knocking over a bunch of crap here. I gotta find my wall charger. Oh, wait, is this what I think it is? No, that's an HDMI cable. Okay. I thought it was like, wait, do I have a USB extension cable right here? It's like I would have been a little bit miffed if that was the case. Oh, I just realized I left the mic on. Well, I'm back with a quesadilla. Oh, that is actually quite good. I think one thing I want to figure out, I'm like, part of me is like, I kind of want to just shut down for an hour and maybe I'll live stream later. But I also want to try and see if I can get more done. So, okay, so if I want to map a point, I mean, that looks actually simple enough. Like, it almost, what are the objects in a, what are the objects in a point? Like, you can have icon, you can have list, you can linear style. Point. So it also has attitude. So, okay, so I think it needs a point, so... So, okay, so KML files talk all about this. Do you talk about KML documents? Like, if I want to, put network data on you, how do I do that? Is that in KML document? And there's a writer here for KML writer. So, to incrementally modify data load over network data, I think use the update element, which are processed in order. I get this horrible sensation I might not be able So here contains the original 2 points. Here's the update file. And that refers to a change. I don't know if I can generate this type of feed. I actually am kind of concerned I can't. I can't take it for a road test today. That I would have to plan the day for, just for various reasons. All right, you know what? Maybe the right call here is actually to see if I can get this to build for the blasted pie. Like, I haven't decided if this is version 4.0 yet, but I'm not sure what to add next, and this seems like to be a good stopping point. I shouldn't say a stopping point, but a good point to deploy it, because that way I can look at things more wildly. I really feel like I'm just wasting time. Alright, so... Alright, so how do I actually... So, because we're actually on Debian, we should just be able to... Like, this should be a lot easier than the last time I tried to do this. Okay, so that's downloading components. Oh, I do think I have to install Docker for this. And I think I can make this bigger. Because like I said, now that we're on a Linux system, a lot of this should just kind of work. I'm having as good a day as I can. That's really what it comes down to. I'm hoping as a video that this is... My fingers are crossed is what I'm going with. Okay, so hold on, Docker. Oh, do you... Is it a different thing on Ubuntu, on Debian? Debian Docker. ARM64. Install Docker engine. So now this should be installed. That seems easy enough. Hopefully this works. Okay, so it's available for ARM. That's a good sign. Alright, so now we get to see if cross actually works. Alright, so that is now setting up the cross compiler. Hoping that works. Well, we'll see. Oh, I have to add a user, don't I? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Docker engine Debian. If I want to use it as non-root, how do I use it as non-root? Okay, so... Alright, so there we go. Docker is set up, so now I should just be able to cross. And we hope for the best. I have this horrible feeling it's not going to work. Of course not. I can probably build it on the desktop. or not on the desktop, on the host system, because I already went through this flippin' hell. Alright, chat, I think I might actually need to stop, take a break. I think I'm going to turn the stream off for now. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back a little later because there's also some things I can do while the stream is down, like set up the T-Mobile hotspot and such. So I will catch you all a bit later. If I don't end up doing more work on this, I'll stream RuneScape tonight. I really just need to take a break. All right, I'll catch you all a bit later. This is your host, NK.